today, dear distinguished, and not distinguished, actually I have to watch out for my speech. Please, I'm just starting. Please.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests.
Yes.
My fault.
You're also a Toastmaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, good day, fellow Toastmasters and other guests. I think we are here today for the meeting which is having a milestone of having a new committee, executive committee of the club starting its operation. And I'm very happy to acknowledge that the previous committee is almost fully the same as the current one, and we can rely on excellent experience and knowledge of our long-term members to have that club not only operational but also successful this year. I'm glad to welcome you and acknowledge that the fact that we had a discussion on whether we have to have this meeting, but I think it's a very good opportunity to kickstart the year before the summer break and to have all our thoughts together on how the club will operate after it. Today we will have several speeches, and I'm very grateful to all the members who have taken the roles. For the business section, I have only one announcement that we are having a summer break, which will start as of tomorrow, let's put it this way, and we will resume our operation for the executive committee on the week of 19th of August. So I will have an additional email sent to all of you to have the calendar marked for the exec committee meeting, and for the meeting of the club itself, it will be the second, actually the fourth week of August, 27th of August, it will be Tuesday, am I right? So we will make sure to announce that. I think our VP for public relations would make sure to have a nice message to all the members and potentially guests who are interested in the club to have that announced properly. Today's meeting is exactly to acknowledge this new start, not so fresh, but new for the club with a new exec-com, and the word of the theme of the meeting is refresh. So exactly, we are refreshing our committee, we are refreshing our strategies, we are refreshing us, because summer break is exactly for that. We need to have new strengths and new ideas, and without relaxing properly, without having this break, it might not be so obvious and potentially possible. We have a full team today, and I would like to ask Maria Teresa as a Toastmaster of the day to start the meeting. Thank you very much. Maria Teresa, the floor is yours.
It's easy to come around here. So, thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Now, as President, you will always be the presiding officer of every meeting, and in your stead, you can delegate them to your Vice President for education, membership, and then the hierarchy. But as of now, you're also the presiding officer at every Toastmaster meeting. So, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I believe we have made an oversight in that we have not officially welcomed our guests, but perhaps Nicole would like to introduce her guests.
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. It's both a difficult and an easy task. Pierre here is a Toastmaster. He's a Toastmaster with the Blue Danube Readers, but he happens to be my husband too. In fact, I'm the one who introduced him to Toastmasters, and I don't mean he regrets it.
Bravo! Is the Blue Danube a French-speaking club?
No, it's an English-speaking club.
English-speaking club. So he could also come to our meetings, in theory.
Well, in theory, I guess, but I have to be here because I have to. This is the reason why I'm late today, because of line, because I have to let him in every time. He cannot come
To the security.
Okay, I hope you use this for some kind of leverage for something else.
Anyway.
In any event, and your name please is Pierre.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to welcome you to our club. So you know how Toastmasters works.
Yeah,
You know
more.
that
I think he
every
does.
Toastmaster meeting consists of 3 distinct sections. What are they? I'm listening. Prepared speeches, table topics, and an evaluation section.
Yeah.
But before we go into anything, I'd like to walk you through the agenda. That's part of my duties as your Toastmaster of the day. This agenda has gone through various changes within the last 24 hours, but at present I see the following. I am indeed your Toastmaster of the day. Lily graciously accepted to be the general evaluator. I have been asked at short notice to be the grammarian, but I have willingly accepted. We will have 2 prepared speeches, one given by Ines and the other given by Ishan, and they will duly be evaluated by Nicole for Ines and Silla for Ishan. Okay? There is no guest speaker. If you see guest speaker on the agenda, that's a faux pas. There is no guest speaker. But we also have some other people taking roles. And she's doubling up because not only is she the topics master, she's also today's timer. So thanks to you, Nikki. Our odd counter for today is Rena. Are you keeping track of all those those nasty things? Ballot counter again, double duty is Rena. And we return then to the Toastmaster of the day and then back to the presiding officer. Toastmasters, what's it all about? Well, you tell me. It's practicing giving speeches in public. But it's not just giving speeches, it's also taking roles. It's also learning how to evaluate, learning how to take a function in a meeting. Pierre, you're lucky that we were able to complete today's agenda, otherwise we may have asked you to jump in and take a role, since you already are a Toastmaster. But luckily that's under control. So the first point of order here is for me to introduce you to the general evaluator, and that happens to be Toastmaster Lily. Toastmaster Lily, the floor is yours.
I think somebody was knocking at the door. I'll speak from the floor because.
It was.
Was it you tapping?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marie Teresa. You already introduced all the roles, so I think my job is done and all the positions are filled. Thank you very much, Marie Teresa.
Absolutely. Does everybody know what they're doing, taking these roles? Okay, all right, that has to be clear. Good. So let's move ahead. This is the fun part. The part where I get goosebumps because I feel for every single person that stands up here and gives of themselves a prepared speech. Now, currently we're working with pathways, so it's my duty to introduce our first speaker. Now, does Ines need any introduction? Everybody has come in contact with Ines because she's our membership vice president. So logically, you would have to touch base with her. I asked her if she'd tell me something we don't know about her, but she never got back to me. But I happen to know that she's also involved in another club here in the VIC. I saw her once at the club days. So she remains active, although you are in pension, aren't you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, not yet. So having said that, I'd now like to call Ines to the podium to deliver the project from the Path Dynamic Leadership. The project is writing a speech with purpose. So it's supposed to be delivering an effective, well-defined speech on a narrow enough topic. As the evaluator of Ines, Nicole, would you like to add any words?
Yes, I would like to say a few things about the objectives of the speech, if I may.
Absolutely.
So, this is a project which is in the pathway path, which is structured, as I said, well, giving a structured speech. So, for me, that's what I will be evaluating. The speech has got to have a clearly defined topic, rather narrow. It has to have a clear structure. it has to have a clear message to the audience, and it has to be supported by, of course, voice and body language. And I will be evaluating along those lines.
Thank you very much. You know, I really appreciate hearing the objectives of the speech, because I've sat in many Toastmaster meetings where people have been here delivering absolutely brilliant speeches, but they didn't meet the objectives. And the rest of the audience didn't know that. So I think it's valuable that you at least communicated to us what Ines is supposed to be accomplishing in her speech. So, without any further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Ines, who is, Nicole mentioned, is delivering a path from dynamic leadership, writing a speech with purpose. And I love this title. I wish there was a magic pill, but maybe I'll get some insight as to how to deal with balance. The title of the talk is, It's Not a Miracle Pill, It's All About Balance. And the target time is 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Ines.
Thank you. Toastmaster today.
Astrid? Yes, come on in. Have a seat.
Your time, Astrid. Fellow Toastmasters, other guests, Madame, Toastmaster of the day, do you really feel refreshed? I have good news for you. Staying refreshed is actually a continuous process. Stay refreshed. This is not only the focus of my presentation today, but it is also looking for balance. Balance in life, and not really, as you said, looking for a miracle pill or miracle pills. I'd like to share with you the wisdom of two people I have been following. One is Alan Watts, from the UK, writer, philosopher, very controversial, but very much to the point. And the other one is Michael Singer, who has written a book, Living a Life of Surrender. That's all about what we are looking at also today. I have been looking at today for the speech. There is something about men and women who seem to have their life in order. They seem to have found a balance. Is this a magic? Or is it simply looking at ways for making sure that you feel good? Are these new thoughts which are coming to their mind? I'm talking about men and women. Or is it really something which they have discovered? This is the way I want to be in life, no matter how old I am. Let's dive together at a number of issues which I looked at, and I have formulated a number of questions, and I have taken these questions and I came to 9 basic questions which were for me, for this presentation, very important. These questions are actually food for thought, but perhaps you will recognize them, I'm sure. Question number 1 is, do we need to compare ourselves to others? We all have our own life paths, which we are deciding upon and making sure this is the way we want to go about things. If we compare ourselves to others, there is always a feeling of shortcomings. I'm not good enough. I'm envying people. Do we need that? We have unsatisfactory feelings, and very often we do not know what to do with it. That was my first question. The second question is, do we need to keep grudges? Grudges. If we do that, what my experience is, we will feel unsatisfied, not really liking as to how things are developing. Let it go. It's also very healthy to let things go. Don't keep your grudges. A third question I had is, do we need to stay in our comfort zones? It's very easy to keep in your comfort zone. You get up, you go to the office, and here in, here out. Or you do something else. I think if we are doing that, we are in for stagnation, limiting experiences and developments, which we really need, and we need to give ourselves challenges, which we think we need. Number 4 is, have you thought about self-care? What is self-care these days? It's not about being selfish. It is a need which we see coming up in our lives, in many lives, when I talk to people, and people see you cannot pour energy from an empty cup. Find your ways, find your balance, putting your basic needs in place. Number 5 was, have you ignored strong emotions? Brushing feelings off, positive or negative feelings, is giving actually you a sign to your body, to your mind, that something is there, something needs to be changed. Look at it, give it attention. Number 6, which came to my mind, was avoiding tough conversations. It's healthy, fellow Toastmasters, to go for tough discussions. It is giving you the freedom, it's challenging you to really dig deep, and it helps you in your personal growth. Number 7 is, for me, do we always have to say yes? No. No is healthy. It is not about being selfish, egocentric. It is looking at your space, looking at your times, setting boundaries. Number 8 was for me, it was all about dwelling at the past. Do we need to dwell on the past? Yes, sometimes it's healthy. We learn from the past. We can get the information and we can get further. However, it also keeps us stuck, and that was my point, what you're making with looking at the past, dwelling on the past, and it's good to say goodbye to the past, look at doors which are opening, and you thought these doors were always closed. Number 9. Do we need to chase perfection? Perfection is an illusion. My yoga teacher was always telling me that, and I never understood it. But actually, it is a never-ending story and never seeing the finishing line. And it impacts on your creativity. Fellow Toastmasters, I feel this is very healthy to really get rid of perfection sometimes. So, my balance in life is to get rid of pills, embrace life, embrace the journey which we have. Life is not a destination. which I feel. It is all about embracing authenticity, and every day is offering to us new opportunities. Take them and run. Madam,
Thank you so much for Ines. You should go to workshops, seminars, courses, and spend hundreds of euros, and not get the amount of information and insight that we got in this 5 to 7 minute speech from Ines. Bravo. I particularly like the way you put things into the questions. Although you started to run out of time with 6, 7, and 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. In any event, absolutely brilliant. 2 points of order. First of all, the general evaluator, because I think she kind of was asked to do this at short notice, forgot to mention that I, as the grammarian, should announce the word of the day, and maybe explain what a grammarian does. Well, I think you all take it for granted that I'm looking after your usage of the English language, and I'm also assigning the word of the day. And I decided somehow to go along with this idea of refresh, which I love, by the way, and say revitalize. What does revitalize mean? It means to breathe new life into something. I can think after COVID we had all these governments putting a ton of money into surplus programs because they wanted to revitalize the economy. But you also can revitalize and re-energize yourself, particularly after a speech by Ines. And I also would award the grammarian's crown for the expression or the word that I found noteworthy in the course of this meeting. My second point of order is that we had somebody who snuck in the meantime. We're glad you found us. We're glad you came. I know asked us through email communication, but maybe you might want to introduce yourself to us as a guest and tell us why you're interested in Toastmasters.
Hi, my name is Astrid Heiling. I'm from the IEA Isotope Hydrology section. I was here before a couple of times as a guest with my colleague Julia Wiskava, who really profited a lot from Toastmasters. And yeah, I have problems with public speaking, and I would like to address them. I would like to speak more fluently.
Well, we hope you will join us. Our membership vice president, Ines, I'm sure would be glad to discuss with you, either in emails or after the meeting. So, I didn't forget, you now, fellow Toastmasters, have at least 1 minute to prepare your feedback for Ines and let her know how she came across in her speech to you. We're all different individuals, you know. Some people may have bluffed it like I did. Some people go, no, it's not for me, it's too esoteric, and blah, blah, blah. In any event, you now have 1 minute noted timer to send, at least to put your feedback on these little tiny slips of paper we have, and then put it in a cup and pass it around to Ines. Although she will get a proper evaluation.
Oh, okay.
I personally find 1 minute is never enough. But you, of course, know that after the meeting you can go up to Ines and give her your reactions to the speech. So now we move along to the next prepared speech. You know, I asked Ihsan, just like I asked Ines, can you tell me something about yourself that I could use for your introduction? You never got back to me.
We had one email together. There was a second email also? Sorry.
In any event, I just don't want to be boring and say, I now invite Ihsan to come to the podium to deliver. I always like to add a little spice to things. Now, I remember Ihsan from years ago And he was active in the club, and then he disappeared. And I thought we would never see him again. But look what happened. He came back. And he came back with panache, with whatever. And he's been so active since he came back. So, Ishan, that's my sort of introduction for you.
Thank you.
You also didn't tell me which path and pathways you're working on, or which projects.
I got two emails, one from you, which we just spoke together, and another one from Nikki that I sent to you that it's a strategic relationship.
Okay, because I had
But it was
checked
from
and you were working
2018.
on strategic relationships,
Yes.
but I never, because ordinarily I should be announcing, Ishan is now delivering from the pathways, blah, 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 strategic
Yes.
relationships, and the project, which project number is it?
No idea.
Okay. I think we need some training in pathways, maybe.
I was actually thinking at the start of the new year when we come back from summer break.
I think we should do it sooner. And also easy speak. That's something maybe as I could fit into one of my projects. So I believe we have now acquired Silla as the evaluator for Asian Speech. Do you have an evaluation form?
Not really. I mean, but because it's a strategic relationship pathway, so I'm going to adopt a strategic approach in terms of evaluating his speech.
I love this
Whereby,
diplomatic approach.
basically, my main goal would be to evaluate based on the content of the speech and also the presentations styles, which is also what we do in the evaluation contest anyway. So, but then of course, once we find out which pathways and which project number, then I will adopt my evaluation based on the objective.
It's also important if this is recorded in easy speak and ultimately recorded in pathways that he gets credit for the speech. Because if it's just all ambiguous and, up in the air and everything, you won't get credit. And that would be a shame, because I know it's going to be a lovely speech. Again, I was somehow, what should I say, revitalized by the title, which is Living with AI. Whew. Kind of sounds scary. I don't think of myself living with AI, but I'm sure Ishan is going to clue us in and let us know all the places where AI sneaks into our life where we're not aware of it. So I now invite Ishan to the podium to deliver Life with AI.
So, fellow Toastmaster, honored guests, thank you for joining us, actually. Living with AI or without AI? Actually, I remember 2013 when I came back from France after I studied the fascinating trending cybersecurity. I started with Professor Sepp Hochreiter, which is one of the famous professors in the AI field in Linz University. He's from Technical University of Munich. This professor is father of AI. He is the reason that you can talk with Siri. And he was my professor. I got a goosebump actually when I spoke about him. This guy is so down to the earth. He always drives a broken bike with a fake value, drinking beer all the time, and he's the loveliest professor ever I had. He was always talking about the benefits of AI until 2019 when we were in alpha from Außenministerium, a small academy in Austria, in Vienna, in Nobel. This professor came about talking about the dangers of AI. He was changed from 2013 to after 5 years, he was totally changed. So I started studying with him Master of Bioinformatics, which was using the data to feed to the models to predict the genes, to predict the pathway of disease. So, right now I want to just say the benefits of the AI, and we go back to what we are seeing these days. These days, everything is getting trendy. Like human nature, we always like to make trends. AI, cybersecurity, resilience, sustainable. We make your words. But is it real AI these days? Or in the past? I want to do a small flashback. I don't want to talk about Alexa. I don't want to talk about Siri. We all know about this thing. We don't want to talk about Tesla. I don't want to talk about my BMW that it always recommend me that last year this day you went to this destination. Why you're not going today? I don't. It's not your business actually. So we don't want to talk about this. I want to flashback to from where we are to the AI era. When we were living in a cave as a humans, we were always using sharp stones to cut fruits and meats. Then we started a revolution. We found the metals. We found another particles. We start using sharp, let's say, material to cut meats, which right now is knife. Knife can kill, and also knife can cut a fruit. The same as AI. After generation to the generation, after the centuries, we came up with the AI, but the pathway was not so easy. I remember in a book that we all, actually, I believe that we all read this book about Isaac Asimov, the science fiction writer. He wrote about the three rules of the robots. That the robot should not harm humans. There's lots of rules that Isaac Asimov has in his books. But when I also flash back to the ancient books in Chinese ancient books and also the Egypt ancient books, the kings they were always dreaming to have a slave artificial objects that can do the daily tasks easily, which we have this thousand soldiers of Chinese that they are statues, but there was a dream, or even there is also belief that they were moving somehow. Even in Persian Empire, there is some kind of objects that they are moving. They are robots, and they are fulfilling the dreams of the king. All these evolutions and let's say optimization of humans, they come to the AI, which we believe that we want a object or something that can do our daily tasks easier. And now we are in 2024, which we have this trending AI, which is always question, what is AI? Is it real AI or conditional program? In the past, when we were seeing the AI, it was not exactly AI. It was conditions. For example, if I hit the wall, I go to the left side or right side. This was a very basic robots. But now the AI is using artificial neural networks. They are making decisions. For example, when you take a photo, I can also, maybe this is not the content of this presentation, next presentation, I can teach you to use how to use the generative AIs. They are the AIs you can use to facilitate your daily tasks. For example, when I was in UNIDO as an HR data analyst, I had a bunch of data about the different UN parties from UNODC, from IE, from UNIDO, UN Women in New York. I have to analyze this data, and it was taking days and days of my time. But now there is a sister program of the ChatGPT. You feed the data and you ask, make all the trending in for me, make all the analysis, use the advanced machine learning on that, and it gives a professional report. 75 reports I got it in 5 minutes, which the 75 was 3 years. The day one I went to UNIDO, the day end, it took me 3 years to do this report. So now you can see the slide. Let's ask this. Do we need AI or we can live without AI these days? Is it something that we can avoid? Is it something that we 100% will rely on that? What I say that it's not only facilitating or fulfilling our daily tasks with AI, it's also closing our hands. It's tightening our hands, the AI. Because in background of the AI is gathering the data. Yesterday I was reading an article. When you put on the chat GPT, write this email and that email, and you put your private information, there is a big data centers. They are easily gathering your ideas, the way you are thinking, what you are doing. And the funny part is, as a danger of the AI. The first recipient of the human meat cooking was generated by AI last week. The AI was proposing to how to cook a human meat. 2 kilos mild zambi, 1 kilo, let's say Ines spice. What is this? And it's proposed to the humans to cook, and it's delicious. It's the same as a duck. As a conclusion, I believe, as a person who I was working for 14 years in this field, and now I'm a CDO of a company which makes drones, we cannot live without AI. We cannot avoid. But what we can do, we can minimize the information that we feed to AI. Minimize somehow.
You know, I know Ihsan as a computer whiz kid, but I found it particularly noteworthy that in his speech, he appealed to me, to a general audience who doesn't have the technical knowledge that you have, and you made it real for me. Although I don't like AI.
Yeah, I want to live without AI.
I don't know how much you actually gave me insight as to how I kind of try to switch it off. As fellow Toastmasters, do you know on Toastmasters International they have an AI assistant that when you give your speeches, you can actually feed your speeches into this AI assistant and you get feedback. I haven't tried. You've tried it, Ines. I haven't tried it myself, but again, that would be a benefit. So, again, you have 1 minute to give Ihsan your feedback on his speech about living with AI. Do you have paper?
I think I have my own piece.
I can do that. You can take this as you put.
I have extra thing. No?
No, we save paper that way. Read out what they have.
Nicole, could you hand me the guest book? Okay.
This one? Yeah, sure. But I don't know whether there is a space.
Absolutely. Seems like a long minute to me, but again, I always find 1 minute not enough to reach the kind of feedback I'd like to give somebody. And now we move on to the next element of a Toastmaster meeting, the table topic session. Now, maybe I ask somebody to explain what a table topic session is. And I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm afraid I didn't catch your name, but you are Nicole's husband. Can you explain to us?
Pierre, yes.
Oh, how lovely. Pierre, would you please explain to us what table topics involves?
Of course, Madam Toastmaster.
Brilliant, thank
With
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Fellow Toastmaster, dear guests, I'm trying now to explain something you all know about, so it's kind of a challenge. So maybe I'll try to explain what it is not. No, let's be concrete. It's about improvising and being able to answer any question in any situation with a personal character. Also, what is good when you train with table topic is not to be able to speak and to answer. Everyone can do that, but to do it in such a way that it reflects also your personality and also answers the question and sometimes avoid the question you don't want to answer about. So that would be my 25 cents on table topics.
I think that's very good. I think that's very good. Although I've never thought it's sort of it's kind of emphasizing my personal character. I just tried to get through the damn 2 minutes. I remember at the beginning I would start off really strong, and then after about 40 seconds, you could sort of see this downward spiral that Maria Teresa had lost her way and didn't know what to say. But I appreciated your explanation of what table topics are. So enough about the explanation. I invite our table topics master, who is also doing double duty as timer, to the podium to deliver table topics.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and our guests today. I'm excited to facilitate this table topic session. And as I was thinking about the type of discussion that we could have, of course, I'm thinking about summer. This will be our last meeting before we take a few weeks off. And it's a time
Sorry.
Big face sometimes about surprises as well.
Yes, okay, so there we go. So I'm just thinking about summer break. You know, for children, there's a few weeks at home. For adults, hopefully you have an opportunity to plan a nice trip or at least find some sort of activity where you can relax and refresh. And with that in mind, I would like to ask a couple questions. Pierre, I will not call on you because you've already come up here and did such a great job explaining table topics.
Nico, you brought Pierre to move him around the table topic.
Yeah. Well, are you interested? Would you like to do a table topic?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, my question for you is, what do you like to do to refresh after a season of hard work?
Fellow Toastmaster, dear guests, yesterday we had a Toastmaster meeting in our club, Danube Leaders, and the word of the day and the topic of the evening, I was Toastmaster of the evening, was summertime. And the introduction round was about the same topic. It was interesting to see the diversity of answers. And for me, summertime, so I'm retired, so I have much more hard work than the people working, of course, and less time than the people having a normal work to do. And for me, summertime in Vienna, it's about construction. So it's quite easy to make a link between summertime and the beach and nice weather and but something very specific. It's the summertime, where big cities take the opportunity to reconstruct things. And I don't see this as a drawback at all. It's, in the contrary, I think a very good time to settle things which are not done when people go to work and when the roads are crowded. In Vienna especially, I also admire the Wiener Linien. Yes. They just refurbish the metro with big projects, and I'm fascinated by this. So it's not a drawback at all. We have to adapt, of course. We will have to adapt in the future. But I think for me, summertime is the right moment where you can construct things and do things better. When the winter time will come, we will appreciate this. Madam Toastmaster, I also have a suggestion. Maybe it's also time to reconstruct the table.
Reconstruct the table.
Oh my goodness, that was fantastic. And a very good point, I live near the ring, and it's also the time where you have lots of tourists coming in. And so they're coming through and they need to have good access. And those redirects and the detours that happen around the ring are also a very curious time with all of the construction projects. So thank you for that. Okay, I have our next question. And Rena, I'm curious, would you like to participate today?
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm curious. Is the way that you relax now the same as it has always been? thinking back to your youth?
I didn't get the point.
The way that you relaxed and refreshed in your youth, is that the same as you relax and refresh now, or has it changed over time?
Oh. Fellow Toastmasters, I guess it changes all the time. The older you get, the more you learn, let it go. I mean, your attitude towards life and towards work, towards your colleagues, it all changes. I mean, I'm not the same person who started 35 years ago at the agency. I'm not the same person. Now it's 2 years before the retirement. My attitude towards job changed, to my colleagues changed, to the member states changed. And I mean, at 35 years when I started, I took all my job, all the meetings and duty travel, I took so seriously, and I did my best. Still, I do my best, but I know what I can do and what I can change. The past, I thought I can do a lot of things. Now I know it's nothing. 2 3 years ago, before Corona, I asked one of my directors. Said last year I organized so many meetings, and I asked the director, because I'm friends with her, how many of these meetings are really useful. I asked this question. The director touched my shoulder and said, Reena, you are too long inside this building. That's the answer I got. Yes, you change. You change your attitude, you change. Now at the moment, I have got a very relaxed, no matter what happens, what kind of troublesome emails coming, I know how to handle it. I know how to do it. Before I got nervous. Now I am not nervous anymore. Yes, I changed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I know you were in countdown mode, and so yeah, you're reinforcing that with your attitude. All right, final question for today. And Astrid, are you interested in participating in table topics?
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, it's just 1 to 2 minutes, speaking from your heart. So my question to you is, what new activities are you planning to try this summer?
My plan is to go with my daughter to a park. She's small, and we're going to see the animals. She's scared of a lot of animals. Basically everything that is bigger than her, which is a lot if you are only 1 meter tall.
There is a matrix.
So my goal for this summer is to change this attitude a bit, and maybe to get to donkeys or like that.
I was actually just in the Cow Valley, and there's a place where you can go take donkey hikes. So I will be happy to send you the link if you're interested in donkeys.
And sorry, just 2 seconds. Both you are interested. There is a national park, 45 minutes from Vienna. It's lots of animals freely walking around, and you can touch the deers and also donkeys and go. They're freely in the nature, and it's I think the entrance is 15 euros or 10 euros. 10 euros, and it's lovely because I have the videos from last week. Perfect.
Please share.
I just checked that it's a 1 meter more, and then I could touch them, you know.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, this concludes table topics, and so I would like to pass it back over to our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
I'm fussy. I can't let go of this. There is one sort of rule in Toastmasters that you should never leave the podium unattended. It's not to be left sort of, without somebody hovering over it or standing over it. And I'm strict about that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So we've had 2 lovely speeches. We've had table topics, and we've had very brave guests who were volunteered. We appreciate that. So now we come into the nitty gritty. What do we do, guys? I beg your pardon?
Table topics?
Table topic. Okay, yes, thank you for the point of order. Yes, we should now be specifying on this little piece of paper who was your favorite table topic speaker. You have an outsider who is not really an outsider because he's a Toastmaster and also somehow involved with one of our members. You have Pierre, you have Rina, and you have Astrid. And if I may be pretty honest, I would give my vote to at least three of them, all three of them. I thought they all did a really good job in different ways. So, Pierre, what you said about how the character comes through, I noticed that this time around. So, let's move ahead to the evaluation section, which entails finding out what we did wrong, finding out what we did right, but more importantly, finding out what we could do better. And in order to hear these comments and get constructive feedback, I invite now our general evaluator to the podium, who will lead us through the evaluation section.
Thank you, Madam President, for the day. Well, I recognise I haven't been in this role for a long, long time. Everything else but general evaluator, not for a while. So the first job that I have today is to invite the evaluator of the first speech. So the first speaker was Ines, and the evaluator for Ines is Nicole. So may I invite Nicole up to give her evaluation for Ines.
So, I said I was going to go by the book, and I will. Your speech had to have a clearly defined topic. And I think the topic is clearly defined from the introduction. Do you feel refreshed? The purpose is to stay refreshed, in other words, to have a balanced life. So that was very clearly said from the very beginning. Now, the structure, the introduction, I like the introduction because it had a question. It's always good to have a question in the introduction. We then will know what the answer is in the body of the text or the speech. Now, the body of the speech, I find it a bit more problematic. The first thing, you started with two names. And I'm not sure I followed the connection then with your basic questions, your 9 basic questions afterwards, because you kept saying, I think. So was it what you thought, or was your inspiration taken from those two books? I'm not too sure there. And my little problem is the 9 points. We've been told by specialists that 3 points is the ideal. 5 points we might remember, 9 forget. This is a bit of the problem. You could have maybe divided it in different parts, put a few points together so that we could remember them. The message and the conclusion was kind of better, because in the conclusion you summarized with 3 points, which I think was good. Was it no pills, embrace life, authenticity, and take advantage of new opportunities. You put it together in the conclusion, which I think was good. Now, the third point is, was the message clear for the audience? What can we take out of this speech? What is the connection with the audience? I think the connection with the audience was very good, because we are concerned about what you talked about. The message was very clear, what to do to find balance in our life. That was very clear, and I really appreciated that. Was it supported by body language? Yes, because you have a good voice. You spoke slowly enough so that we could really understand without any problem. You had hand movements, but not too much, not too little. I think that was good. So what are my recommendations? My recommendations are the following. If you're going to give the names of people involved, either you have a PowerPoint presentation or a paperboard and you write them down. Because never overestimate what people know and what they don't know. And then if we don't know the names of them, I don't know that name, but we might be interested, and it's interesting to have the names of these people. And if you are going to keep your 9 points, then have a PowerPoint presentation or have a board where we can see them written down so we can note them, or we can picture them. So what we hear is also what we see, and see is important. Just very, very simply, the way you said it, very, very short, and then you explain. That was my suggestion, and I appreciated in my suggestion, keep that, the personal experience, a little bit more. You said about yoga, but a bit more. These are a bit more experience. That's my recommendation. Thank you for putting me.
Thank you, Nicole, and especially for respecting the timer's indications. Our second speaker was Ethan, and his evaluator is Scylla. May I invite Scylla up to give her evaluation?
So, living with AI. What an incredible title. The title itself already, at the very beginning, sort of aroused my curiosity. And I really like it. Very simple, relatable. Everyone is talking about it these days. So I want to know what Izan wants to talk about this. My evaluation are going to be on two aspects. What is the message, the content? And how do you deliver that message, your delivery? So for the content, you come across as a person who is the perfect guy to talk about the topic. You're authentic, you're authentic. You know a lot about it. So not only the title is very good, I also really like the opening. Because you talk about personal stories, how you study from the master of the field. It sets the background for credibility. People want to learn from you. And I really like the way that you describe the whole stories as well. It's almost like you can see, how your professor was riding the bike. There's also like the story at the very end where you talk about the contrast in terms of the time. You used 3 years to come up with those 75 reports, and now it's 5 minutes. So that's the contrast. The use of personal stories is very powerful. And you also gave us a very strong position in the end. The strong position is living with AI, but we need to minimize the amount of data we share. That became very strong. So those are the points that I really like in terms of the content. Your delivery skills is also very strong because you have very good use of the stage. You're not just restricting yourself to a certain position. Good use of the hand gesture. Your voice also changes according to the content that you deliver. So those are also the points that I really like. Sometimes you speak a little bit too fast, especially for things you're very passionate about. So it can be a good and bad. It shows the passion, but for the audience, it might be a bit difficult to grasp. But wrapping it all this, what is the message? It's very strong at the very end. You gave us a very strong conclusion. How those ideas are being tied in the speech is not so clear to me. Because at the beginning, you say something about the benefits, then also your professor have reservation about, the position. So those, give me some tips, but how does it link to your very strong conclusion? That for me, something is missing. Your conclusion is definite, but why would you come with such a conclusion? What is the reason? I got a little bit lost. And if I may, something that would make the presentation, the delivery a bit stronger is the use of pause. All you need is just to say, living with AI. Let people think. And that would make it a much stronger speech. Thank you.
knows, who noticed. I was sitting here and we're talking about AI. And when I came in here, I thought, oh, look, there's a camera, there's a screen. I'm going to record it on my laptop because nobody's recording and we're not even using the camera in the room. Was that AI that turned it on? Now the camera is on and filming us.
I think there is a keyword that if we use it, it will turn on. Because last time also we had a presentation, I realized that. So we use some word, Sila used some
It
word.
would be good to know what that word
What
is.
if you do that?
And then to
The
know how to
Aladdin, you know?
access the recording.
Massage the Aladdin and comes up.
Because whether you think AI is good or bad or spying on you, isn't it? It's fascinating, eerie, exciting. I'm excited. So anyhow, it's turned itself off now, but there was a key word.
Somebody's listening.
Maybe it was the voice. Maybe the voice.
Yeah, it was triggered by the voice. Yes.
It's triggered by the voice.
Because it came on by itself.
Yeah.
When somebody else was talking, when Silla was giving her review on AI. Good. So back to the evaluations. May I call on Maria Teresa to give the grammarians report, please?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, my grammarian report is going to be very skimpy today because I think it was concentrating more on being Toastmaster of the day. I had chosen as a word of the day revitalize, but I think I heard refresh more often. So somehow there was a little bit of a, are we supposed to use refresh or revitalize? I think Ines used it at least once, but other than that, I didn't pick up on anything else. And the only grammatical mistake I caught was our presiding officer at the beginning of the meeting where she's talking about refreshing us. I think what you meant to say was refreshing ourselves. Us is kind of the collective, but refreshing ourselves. My choice, at least for the grammarian's crown, goes to Ines, because I love the imagery when you were talking about this cup that had nothing in it. I really like that. So from my point of view, you deserve the grammarian's crown. And with that, I conclude my skimpy grammarian's report.
Thank you, Maria Teresa. Rena, would you like to give the timers report, please? Timer, Nicole.
Yes, very happy to. All right. How should I address Madam General Evaluator? If I may, I have times for both of our prepared speeches, for our table topics, and for our evaluators. For our prepared speeches, first I will go with Ines. You know you went a little bit over. You ended up at 8:55. Yeah, so almost 2 minutes over. A lot of great content, but I think you were in the 5 to 7 for your prepared, and so yeah, 8:55 is your final time. Aisham, you were in the 6 to 8 minute range, and you hit 8 on the dot.
Thanks.
For our table topics, we have Pierre. You were 150. You were right in time. Then we had Rena, also 150. And Astrid, you were at 33 seconds. Yeah, so almost the time. For our evaluators, Nicole, I actually forgot to hit start when you began, and so I was about 15 seconds behind you. When you stopped, it was about 3:15, so I'm saying about 3:30. And it should go between 2 to 3 minutes for an evaluation. Sila, you were also at 3:30, so you guys tied on your evaluation. That concludes my timer's report.
Thank you, Nicole. Rena.
I'm feeling. Okay. I was listening very carefully. I counted for Tatiana 7 times. Maria Teresa none. Ines, I didn't listen too carefully with your thing because your speech was so thing. I wrote down everything what you said, 9 points, and I just counted 1. So that's my mistake. Asan 6 times, PA 1, Astrid 2, Nikki 1, Nicole 2. Nicole didn't make arms, ohms, or nothing. It is just a break and a repeat. Silla 1. This concludes my report.
Thank you. That was the ballot counter. The ballot counter, you can, how would the president, how do we want to do the ballot counter? Announced by the president or
Yeah.
by the president?
No, she announces it, but the president gets the ribbon.
Gives the ribbon? Rena.
It's my honor to announce the best debut topic master. That is our dear guest Pierre.
So, timekeeper, eye counter, ballot counter, speeches, my general evaluation. We started a little bit late because we were still discussing a few issues. The AI issue and the filming of the stuff is something that I would address again and again and again, because I believe that recording the meetings is a very valuable asset for our club, but it needs to be addressed on an executive level to decide how to do it and to plan it and organize it. So that is an open issue from my perspective, and this experience today, totally fascinating. I really highly would like to give the input to follow up on that, because if we've got the equipment in the room, it would be really great to be able to use it.
I've taken note to contact Alia, who we scheduled a room with, to find out about the technology and equipment. So I'll take that task and
Please,
follow up.
thank you. Great. Thanks, Nicole.
I just have a question. Do you keep track or statistics on how many people actually look at the videos?
It is, since it is all on YouTube and on EasySpeak, that is possible.
Yes.
So the work to do that, it depends when you do it and how to do it and whether it's worth it to do it. Of course, I've looked at it a few times, and there to the PR vice president, the issue would be whether we are promoting that aspect of it. For your information, we have usually recorded our meetings, even the executive meetings in the past, and I have posted them onto our YouTube channel, but private only, link only. So therefore the access is only available to those who have the link, and I publish the link on our internal management system on EasySpeak, so the current Toastmasters Club members have access to look through the calendar and click on any meeting and look at the recordings that have been posted. Including the executive meetings are then only available to the current executive members. So I found that an excellent management system to keep track of what's been happening in our meetings, and I would highly support and recommend it and push that it continues in that way.
The idea of putting the executive committee meetings on EasySpeak was phased out last year.
What do you mean?
We never used EasySpeak as the vehicle to invite.
You didn't have any more access once you were no longer executive
I'm talking
member.
about last year.
Yeah.
Last year. Up until January this year, I had access. But I noticed last year the executive committee meetings were phased out of EasySpeak. They were not put on.
No, it's just that you were no longer an executive committee member.
No,
therefore they're no longer visible to you. I can still see them. And the current executive members can still see in the calendar.
No, I still maintain we phased out the executive committee meetings on EasySpeak. I know for a fact. Because there were other ways to invite people to the meetings, and EasySpeak was ignored.
I sent a learning video to Tatiana, and she referred it to Nikki, about how to use the mass mailing system to invite the executive members to the executive meeting, and that is included in the mass mailing criteria, and I am totally convinced that the meeting option is also still available, but we can leave that for a discussion outside of this area. Thank you. So you can see Toastmasters is a wonderful opportunity for learning, for growing, communication, leadership, management, really excellent. Promote Toastmasters itself, and to evaluate this particular meeting. Thank you, Marie-Theresa, as a Toastmaster of the day. You described all of the roles, but that made my role as a general evaluator obsolete in terms of going through that, but it saved a lot of time, and I think that was quite, since we were all, before Astrid arrived, we were all internal members who were very experienced, and it was a good tool to just get on with the meeting. I appreciated how the first evaluator pointed out that she was looking for the purpose of the speech, and I think that's a very, very important point. And we have AI with us again.
It is voice. It is some kind of voice volume.
Maybe not.
As I said, he thinks it's keywords, so we need to find out what are the keywords.
Yeah, there's something that is true.
Like a voice command. You need to give a voice command. So Ines, yes, I could go on, but the time is already running out. I loved your content, and there were a lot of points that I could address and give feedback on the different points that you gave. Thank you for welcoming the guest after the normal time when we do that at the beginning of the meeting, and I think it's really great to be able to make that gesture to really show that we are open to receive guests and that we are keen to learn with one another and to grow together. On that note, I think it was very worth my while coming in for this meeting, and there are lots of other things going on, constructive dialogue with you in ODC that I'm attending, and I don't regret that I came in. There are all sorts of other things that I could say, and appreciate having been invited to be the general evaluator for this meeting, which I have not done for a very long time. Yay. Super.
Thank you, Lily. That was nice of you to offer. It's relatively short notice to be general evaluator. You did a fine job. So now it's time, at least for me, to reflect a little bit on this meeting. Okay, we're running out of time. But I'd like to see, at least at our meeting on the 27th of August, lots more people. I would invite all of the mentors to be contacting your mentees, because I don't want to see this club turning into just an executive committee melee. I mean, if you look at the agenda, with the exception of Nicole and myself, it's all the executive committee. And for me, this Toastmaster Club is to be all inclusive, which is not just executive committee. So I'll stop being preachy, but I'm just basically of the opinion, Astrid, maybe we get you on board, and maybe we get you a mentor, and you also ease yourself slowly into the Toastmasters, like the children petting the animals, a little bit afraid. But you have to throw yourself into the deep end, otherwise nothing's ever going to happen. So again, mentors, get on top with your mentees, persuade them to come to the meeting on the 20th, let them know well in advance. And with that, I return control to the presiding officer and Madam President, Toastmaster Tatiana.
And I will start with a very pleasant moment of awarding the best table topics ribbon to Pierre, our guest. And experience
Thank you very much for environmental reason. I give it back for the next.
Thank you very much.
Usually in our club we make a photo and then we give it
back.
Yeah,
that's good. That's a good idea.
Excellent idea.
But in that case, you can keep it because we have plenty. As a souvenir, please take it with you.
For record, we are making photos.
As long as you give me the floor, just 3 little points. Thank you very much for taking me on board with this meeting. It was a real pleasure. I was there a few times already, but a long time ago. Second, you're also much welcome to come to our Blue Danube Leaders meeting on Monday, just the day before that one evening in the 18th district, all in easy speak. And third, I would also pass the greetings of our area director, Valentina Mileto. She's a member of our club. She's one of our past presidents. And she couldn't make it today, but she will have to visit you, and she wanted to send the best regards to the club.
And excuse me, I have a point of order because I had a discussion with her, and she told me what would be the best time for us to have her here. And I said she'd have to see with you, because I think at that time is when the agency has its general meeting, where everybody's busy.
Yeah.
So because she might come September, October, but I don't know what is the schedule.
Yeah, we will have to find out the best time for that. But
thank you again, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and having that experience sharing between the clubs as well.
I also have a point of order. If people take what I said to heart, and we have a whole crowd of people in here, maybe we have to think, and don't hate me, about a new meeting room or somehow getting chairs in this room because it won't be enough.
We will cross
Almost
it
there.
when we get there.
Yes.
Well, I'm optimistic. I would like to see a whole
When we
lot
get
of
there.
people
Yes.
coming in here, and this
There
meeting.
are chairs in 404 just across the hall that we pulled over when we had a full
Okay.
room before. So
Okay.
there's a
No,
thing
I
for
said
that.
chairs as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, yeah. It's okay.
So we have very many bright ideas, and that was actually the point of our discussion yesterday at the executive office ExCom meeting, that we can rely on experience and we can do things better. So we are still collecting all those points. I won't take much time of yours, just to say that yes, we had a lot said today about how to refresh and revitalize ourselves during this forthcoming summer break. Maybe to study a bit about AI. And definitely come back on the 27th when we are all going to be back in full scale, full force, and happy to have that club going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.